Bada bing, bada boom. Social Inform Media.
This story comes to us from abc15.com. It's out of Tempe, Arizona, and I'll put a link to this news story in the description box below, and under that link, I'll put a link to the YouTube video from ABC 15, which includes video from a cop watcher who was on scene of a traffic stop when something tragic happened. I watched the video, and this cop, man, it's almost like this cop had the attitude of, "You don't tell me how to do my job," as he's slowly putting on his gloves and he's putting everything up. "I'll get there. Don't rush me. Come on now. I know how to do my job," kind of a thing. That's almost the impression I was getting from his body language. What's the problem with that? Let's look at it. Multiple witness videos appear to show an Arizona Department of Public Safety state trooper, a cop, would be CHP in California, finishing a traffic stop while bystanders plead for him to help a nearby child who'd been shot in the back seat of a car. A 5-year-old boy who later died from the gunshot wound was less than a block away from where the motorcycle trooper was conducting his traffic stop. Now, the child was in the car that had been shot up at a different location. The teenage driver of the vehicle drove down to 52nd Street and Broadway in Tempe after the car was riddled with bullets and stopped in the middle of the intersection. Scott Jacobs, who witnessed the entire situation, said he thinks the driver stopped at the location because they saw police lights, the cop motorcycle was there, and assumed law enforcement would rush to help the injured child in the car. Well, video from the incident shows that's not exactly what happened. In fact, that's not at all what happened. But just before midnight on Friday, Darian Barrett, who's a cop watcher in Tempe, Arizona, and Jacobs were recording a DPS trooper conducting a traffic stop. Both are well-known cop watchers who videotape Valley law enforcement. And the interaction starts off cordially, but quickly develops into a chaotic scene. A minute after the faint sound of gunfire is heard in the distance, a black car drives in the middle of the intersection, roughly 100 yards away from where they're at, a football field. The driver was laying on the horn in the middle of the crowded intersection. Seconds later, multiple people jump out and take off running. Now you can hear Barrett say, "We got an accident or some sort of road rage over here." And then the police trooper is heard responding, "Why don't you guys step in?" and something, whatever he says. He says, "Why don't you guys step in? Huh? I'm working here." As this guy's in the middle of the intersection honking his horn going, "Help, help." The cop's like, "I'm working here. Why don't you guys go help him?" Because it's not their job, it's your job. Well, it shouldn't be for long. They fire your ass, but they won't because he's a cop and he can do what he wants. But Barrett screams back, "Step in, what the boop? You're an officer, go over and do something. This is petty." Now, you also hear in the video people yelling, "There's a gunshot in the window and there's a child right here." But the trooper still wearing of course he's wearing his helmet because it's got his radio on, but they discover a 5-year-old was shot in the back seat, and then they start screaming for help. "Please help." And then you hear like, "Stay alive, sweetie, stay alive." They're trying to keep the child awake. Another witness screams, "Call the cop, there's a freaking kid shot here." Now, all this goes on while the cop finishes his traffic stop and he gets on his bike, he does his thing. You'll see him in the video slowly pull on his gloves. Like he's intentionally taking, "You guys aren't rushing me. I know how to do my job." Jacob said he's going to file a complaint with the Department of Public Safety against the state trooper. He says, I mean, we're talking about dereliction of duty. This is the definition of it. And I don't know what the laws are or what the charges are for that, but he should not be allowed to retain his position. No, this cop should be fired. I told a sergeant here in Yucaipa PD, we were just talking, and I said to him, you know, I understand that law enforcement can be very fluid. When I was in San Bernardino, I was filming the PD, and it was a shooting, and I was there filming them doing the investigation. One of the cops walked up right to where I was at and said, Sarge, we got a casing here. And so I told the officer, I said, well, I said into my video, all right, we're going to back up, people. I said to him, I'm going to go over here. Since you found that, I'm going to walk up here and record. And he was like, thank you, I appreciate that. And I understood. It's very fluid. All of a sudden, boom, I'm standing next to evidence. I'm going over here so I don't kick that casing or whatever, or step on something I shouldn't be stepping on. I understood that. My point is, here's a DPS trooper on a traffic stop. All of a sudden, there's a guy blaring his horn and people are yelling, hey, there's a kid shot in here. This car's shot up. Law enforcement is fluid. Okay, traffic stop's over. I got an emergency here. No, the DPS trooper goes, I'm in the middle of a traffic stop. Y'all just going to have to wait. Now, we don't hear him say that, but with his body language, that's what he's impressing upon us. Tempe Police Department has said 2 other children were injured when the car was shot at. Both kids are expected to survive and are already out of the hospital. No arrests have been made in the murder. DPS has not released the trooper's name or said if he will face any sort of internal investigation. He won't. He was on a traffic stop, man. What do you expect him to do? Be in 2 places at once? Yeah, because there was an emergency going on that supersedes your traffic stop. The Arizona Department of Public Safety did give this statement. The Arizona Department of Public Safety has received numerous citizen and media inquiries regarding a video on social media depicting one of our troopers on a routine traffic stop and his subsequent response to the aftermath of an unrelated shooting incident. For context, it must be noted the shooting did not occur at the intersection depicted in the video. But the car was there honking his horn, right? Continuing. This video was recorded on March 17, 2023 at approximately 11:30 p.m. in the area of Broadway and 52nd Street in the city of Tempe. The Tempe Police Department is investigating this tragic shooting in which a small child lost his life and 2 other juveniles were injured. Due to the allegations in the social media posting, the department is reviewing this incident. Well, they're reviewing it, and they'll say, you know, he was on a traffic stop. What do you want him to do, huh? Because that's how cops feel about you. Now, if there was something in there where the cop, you know, could get some type of special award, or I don't know, I'm not going to hypothesize this, but this pisses me off. You have a cop right there. This is your chance to help somebody. This is your chance to show we are out here to protect and serve. And instead you let your ego get the better of you. I'm doing my traffic stop. Shut up. Don't rush me. There you go, guys. This Department of Public Safety trooper is poster child for Arizona law enforcement. We don't care. Not really.